Oh boy, okay. Good to see y'all again. Man, I can't believe I messed up the timing or the day of when my BookTube channel arrived at a year along now. I haven't recorded in a few days. I haven't recorded in a long while. But hello. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Changeling Reader. If you're new here, my name is Adrian. And today we're actually doing a celebratory video for my BookTube channel, or I guess just my channel, it's been 1 year since my first video. I haven't consistently uploaded because of various things and issues. I don't like how quiet it feels right now, so if I seem rather quiet, that's why. I have a weird, sense of it's being quiet and talking at a normal level being too loud. I don't know why. It's just the mood of the evening, I guess. Anyway, what was I saying? Today, yes, I was talking about what we're doing today. We're celebrating my BookTube birthday, I guess. Will this always be a BookTube channel alone? I don't know. As you will see as I talk in this, I have some ideas for what I want to add, but just to put it now, today I'm going to be going through the BookTube Birthday Tag, and then I'm going to do that first so I don't bore you, and then I'm going to talk about some updates, go over some channel goal things. I didn't do a mid-year check-in, or I haven't checked in about goals or anything. And since this is my BookTube birthday and it's close to mid-year, I was like, I'll do some updates, checking in, talking about stuff after finishing the BookTube birthday tag. And if the video doesn't seem to be too long, I'll also be adding a midyear freakout tag at the end, going through it. It's not gonna be, it's just a check-in tag now, I guess, because we've passed halfway through the year, but you know what, that's fine. So if you want to stick around all the way through to that, see you there. I will put timestamps, but your time in hearing out all of the video is very much appreciated, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments below on any thoughts you have, anything like that. Anyways, let's dive into the BookTube birthday tag now that I've spent 5 minutes trying to start this and doing a rather poor job of it. So, question 1 of the tag is, what anniversary are you celebrating? It is my first. We'll see how long this goes. It'll be interesting if I ever get to double digits, because, who knows what could come up. That's a simple answer. Question 2, what genre or genres does your channel generally focus on? This is a troublesome one because I am someone who wants to read a wide variety, right? I have eclectic tastes, right? But so far, if I were to say what it has been most prominently, I would say fantasy and classics with some horror, some literary fiction, and just a smidge of romance. What with Jane Austen and a recent one and some other stuff. I do want to get more nonfiction in though, because I have a fair few nonfiction books that I want to read. Next question, question 3. I have them all written here as well as some various notes. Is what are you most proud of on your channel in the last year? Honestly, I would say it's some of the little editing moments I've done. One of the big ones I remember that always pleases me, the times I've looked at it, is in the one vlog I have on my channel currently, which is like the packing and moving and like winter vlog. There's a point where I lined up the music and a certain like ending note with a transition from pulling into my college dorm's parking lot, and suddenly, and it's winter, and then from the inside, like fading to black and fading back in on the final note on the window out, and then turning, and I don't know why that little editing moment makes me so happy. And I've had others, but there was especially one that I was really proud of that was like snapping a pen into my hand, or pencil. It was a pencil, but for a variety of reasons, I ended up having to scrap that video. That was the Flannery January vlog, which is sad, but you know, there's that, and with that, I would say the other thing I am proud of on this channel is not a specific video, but just that I have at least somewhat kept going. Like I haven't absolutely failed, even if it takes a couple months before I get another video up. And you know, I could be hard on myself about all of the videos I still need to finish editing and getting up, but quite frankly, if I make myself feel bad for not getting videos edited as soon as I meant to or said I would, that's not going to make them come any faster. If anything, it'll make them take longer, because I'll feel bad, and then doing them, I'm like trying to finish them fast, and then freaking end up feeling miserable, more miserable actually doing it. So then I avoid it because it's more work instead of, you know, like when the times I've just taken it. Plus, I mean, I've needed a break for like 2 months, even though I haven't fully given myself it, and I might be jeopardizing some of my steps towards convalescence in recording this, but oh well. But still, I am proud that I'm still going and working on this, even if y'all aren't seeing the products of it. I'm going to get stuff out as soon as I can while not making myself miserable. Moving on, because my brain has utterly frazzled around this question, so we're just going to move on now. Why do I feel so like tense now and like anxious and stressed? I don't know. Anyways, moving on, I need to stop. Question 4, do you receive ARCs to review? No, not really. I have gotten 2 books before they were to be published, right? But not for the channel. It's just because I won them as giveaways on Goodreads. One I have read and reviewed, and it'll be published. The actual official publishing will be on the 15th. Yeah, there was that one. And then the other one officially came out on the 8th, but I did not get to it before then because I had a bunch of other books in the works. And it was a longer book, and a book that I was not in the place to read it, so I did not sit down and force myself to read it, and thus end up potentially having a worse view of it because of that. Anyways, next question. Question 5. What types of videos do you most like to do on your channel? You know, I don't think I've done enough variety of videos. Vlogs are like neat, but also a lot of work. I need to figure out how to properly do them. So I'm not going to say that they're not ones they're not ones I dislike. It's just that kind of thing where it's like I've only done one, but I've got footage for others, but I haven't figured out how editing, and that's part of why it's taken me a while for some of them, because I'm like, okay, figuring out stuff while also trying to make it nice. But I do like the wrap-ups, I guess. The times I've done them. I recently recorded over an hour of footage of me talking about all the books I read, but then the editing software I have wouldn't work for it, and so I had to scrap all that, which is fine. I will maybe do like a what I read this summer video. But yeah, wrap-ups. What types of videos do you like to watch on other people's channels? That's question 6. Didn't say that right. Oh well. Generally on other BookTube channels, I'll watch anything so long as it piques my interest and it's on something I've already read or am very hesitant about reading or don't expect I'll read. Right, so I've watched Emmy's long video on her reading the entire Shatter Me series, so you don't have to, and that's a good one. I've watched some Colleen Hoover videos because I intend to never read a single book of hers unless I do it as kind of like a joke or like maybe as a video, because it just sounds like a nightmare from what I've seen of the stuff. Otherwise, I mean, if it's on a book that I want to read, I'm not gonna watch it, right? If I haven't read the book, unless it's a non-spoiler one, like Murphy Napier does some reading vlogs, and she never does like spoilers, but she reads a lot of books that I eventually want to read. And actually, I love that, because then she's talking about it, and in a way, it's kind of like helps my brain better determine which ones to go for next, or like stuff like that. So that's nice. Question 7. Was there anything you tried on your channel last year that didn't work? Getting comments, trying to get interaction. It wasn't like I tried any specific videos, because at a certain point I was like, okay, I just need to get these basic ones down, because otherwise I'm going to be thrown way off and struggling. Because, I mean, look, did a readathon video, like filming for it, and so that has since been thrown a wrench and stuff. But I hope that'll do well when I eventually get it out. But it's just that, like, when I started this channel, I was really hoping to, talk to people in the comments. And I've tried in various ways to be like, hey, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Or like, even just in my descriptions, sometimes being like, if you read the description, what's your favorite book food that doesn't exist in the real world, if you know of one, or stuff like that. And I've not really gotten any comments, which is fine. That's totally the viewer's prerogative to comment or not. It's just sometimes a little disheartening to be like, I'm talking about books. This is a community to talk about books. And then feel like I'm talking into a void of emptiness, because I'm just seeing some views and like a couple likes and nothing else. But can't really do anything about that, can I? At least I don't know yet, like how to provoke people into commenting. Because I don't want to provoke people into commenting, because that's just not going to be fun. Forcing outrage to get people commenting. That's not what I want. I wanted to chat with people. Anyways, moving on. Is there anything you've done on your channel that you won't continue doing next year. I guess TBR videos to a certain extent. Because, I mean, like that summer book bingo video, I don't think I'm going to do ones where with challenges, for example, like Victober or Fabrigency or, any stuff like that, where I list out all this stuff and be like, here's the concrete list of options for this. Because even that has caused like me to shy just a little bit away from it because it feels like homework or like a demand that my brain wants to avoid to an extent. Plus, already with the summer book bingo, for example, I've already gone way off because I've decided I'm not going to be reading Infinite Jest before the summer ends, so not even going to try to do that for the book bingo, nor A Suitable Boy for the same reason. So I have other books that I've already figured out. I'm like, okay, it's fine. I have other books that I have read or will read that fit. And I don't even have to get a blackout, right? It's totally fine. With July, I don't expect to black out my bingo board. If I do, that'll be amazing, but I just hope to get 1 or 2 bingos. Yeah. Anything else I won't continue. I guess maybe just wrap-ups as I have been doing them, because they end up going very long since I end up talking for a long time because of me having a lot to say about each book. So I'm starting to think if I give a book either like above a 4 or 4.5 stars or below 2.5, like if it's 2 or lower stars and 4.5 or higher, I'll do dedicated reviews. But if it's anything between, it'll just be in a wrap up alongside those other ones in a more short form. Yeah. I might do something like that. I don't know. Moving on, question 9. Anything you plan to do more of next year? Vlogs? Or I guess in the next year, which wouldn't be 2024. It's still the rest of the year. Whatever. But yeah, vlogs, maybe more tags, because those have more structure. This is a tag, and thus I am able to write stuff down and have more structure and not just go off for an hour without meaning to. Question 10. Is there anything you plan to add to your channel next year? I do hope to maybe incorporate more of my other interests. Like, I don't know how I would, because I don't necessarily think I would be giving advice for something like D&D, but I just wish I had people to talk to about D&D. And also maybe just including writing more in vlogs if I do them, or talk about maybe videos where I approach books from a writer's perspective and talk about certain things. Like there was something I noticed a while ago where someone was judging an author based off of just the writing in the book, and I was like, no, you got to understand it's the form of third person they're using, where the narrator hops onto their shoulder and presents the world as if they are seeing it through the character's eyes, and thus you get a sense of the character through the descriptions, even if the character is not thinking them. And it's not actually the author being like, yes, these kinds of like people, like fat people, are bad. It's just the character we are currently on the shoulder of is someone who kind of is a bit nasty towards overweight people. But yeah, that sort of thing. Maybe as someone who is an aspiring writer. Well, I'm a writer. I'm an aspiring author. And then essays? Not sure how I would do that, but like, I think I've mentioned it before where I was like, there's stuff where I've thought about where I want to just kind of talk about, or maybe stuff, but like, look, I've graduated 2 months ago from college with like all kinds of essays I had to do. So give it a while before I start writing essays for leisure or entertainment for myself, and I guess to share with everyone else. Plus I'll have to figure out video essays. Yeah. Next question, 11. What are some of the challenges you faced on your channel? Editing. That has been troublesome, because it's just a lot, especially with how I am. I'll include some of the moments here where it's like my brain is just like fritzes out, or I'm like very sensorially aware, or otherwise just my brain is scrambling because I'm trying to think and talk, and my brain is I'm thinking about talking, while also there's a noise over there, and oh, the laundry machine just made a noise, or was that the water cooler? No, what is it called? See, that sort of thing, where my brain is just like, herk, and I haven't thought things through a lot. But, and then there, like I kind of mentioned, the trouble of lack of interaction, right, is the challenge of feeling like nobody's listening, even if I am seeing that people are watching, and there's some people liking. It's just like, I'm putting this out here to start conversation. But so it's like being in a room with a bunch of other people and you say something, everybody looks at you like you said something, but then turns away and talks about something else. It's that kind of feeling sometimes. Right? And I don't know what to do with that, because it's not like I can force it, but it is a bit challenging to like think like, let's keep going talking about this stuff. But I assume eventually it'll come. It's just a matter of me not being consistent enough for YouTube or other people to be like, this is a person worth my time, or worth giving a bump in attention, or what have you. Then we have question 12. What equipment do you use to film your videos? Just my Samsung phone. I can't remember what model it is, but it's just been my phone this whole time. Oh, and this little microphone with a clip to a back scratcher. In other videos, it was a wand. And that's it. That's all the equipment I've used. Oh, I guess also this ring light I used to kind of try to balance out the lighting of this background, because otherwise it's like there's light from right there and like a little bit further back over there, and it's like uneven, and so this side just looks dim, especially with me here, because then there's my shadow. Yeah. Question 13. What is your one best piece of advice you can give another booktuber? I don't know. I saw this question and I was like, what am I supposed to say? I don't freaking know. Advice is usually best coming from someone who has some success, or has seen and understands how others have succeeded. But I'm still figuring things out. However, I guess I would say take some advice from my struggles, and that it is better to just do, if you want to do BookTube, I would say it's better to just keep going as you can while enjoying yourself, never forcing yourself to the level where you're miserable, because it is not worth doing if you are not enjoying yourself. Because even with the lack of interaction that sometimes comes about, and sometimes it's just a little bit disheartening. I still enjoy just talking about the books, editing it and putting it out there, just having a finished product that I put the effort into, even though I do struggle with recognizing or even feeling proud about achievements. It's still something to enjoy and take value in, that you're putting stuff out there. Because even if no one else watches, you'll have a record of yourself, right? It's like an audio-visual diary in a way. Yeah, it's worth it even if you're not hearing from anyone. Is that good advice? Does that make sense? I hope it does. Wrong side. And then the last question of the tag is, what is the best part of having a BookTube channel? I guess I kind of encompassed it, right? There's the aspect of I'm getting to see some of my reactions to things. Like, it's crazy to look back at me unintentionally starting to cry because of Beartown, or seeing some of my reactions. It's even kind of been a self-knowledge. I've gotten to see myself more from an outside view, like how I behave. And even though I knew before that I had those things, it's still a part of your brain that's like, am I imagining that? But seeing it in video form, it's like, okay, no, I do have some of those quirks befitting the neurodivergence I am pretty sure I have. And then there's just an aspect of it's made me think a lot more about books, because, I want to talk about them and explain why I enjoyed them, or why things don't work for me, or why I think that you may misunderstand something about a thing. But that's more when I'm like watching other videos and I'm thinking, and then I might comment and be like, hey, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't think of it that way. I never say you're wrong, because it's so hard to be sure you're right sometimes. So I'll just be like, I didn't take it that way. I took it more like this, or that works for you, but for me that makes it actually iffier, that kind of thing. Yeah, and that is the BookTube Birthday Tag. Took longer than I expected, but that's because of the whole anxious mess towards the middle there and needing a break. But I had other things I wanted to talk about, right? So it's kind of been implied in the birthday tag. I have other videos that I really need to work on and eventually get out. All of them, I don't have a specific date in mind. For now, it's just get them out before the year ends, right? Because that's enough time for me to do it when I can, when I feel up for it. And I am not, having a day where I don't even feel like I can shower, and I'm trying to force myself to focus on editing, and my brain just ends up fritzing, and I rewind again and again and again as I try to remember what I'm paying attention to. But I wanted to do some brief check-ins with some of the goals from earlier this year, as well as some ideas. Let's actually just go to checking in about challenges and my goals. So there's the Reader Rid project. I have actually dealt with 6 out of the 13 books, either reading them or one deciding to DNF or set aside for later, because as I've explained in, was it my January and February, the video where I talk about Beartown, because I'm pretty sure in that I talk about the Book of the Dead and why I am not getting rid of it, but also not reading it. And then I have 2 planned to pick up. Actually, no, I started them today. I started 2 of them. So that's going well, with 8 out of 13 either being read or gotten rid of. right? I've gotten rid of one already because I was very unhappy with it. I DNF'd one because I got what I needed out of it. And otherwise, I think all the rest I've read and I've decided to keep. I'll have to double check that. Then there's goals that I was going to talk about. Taking better care of myself. That has been iffy. What with like graduating and stuff, I definitely did not take care of myself towards the end there because I basically over 2 days got like a cumulative, 6 hours of sleep. And I was at a wedding in a suit on my feet I was up before like around 8 and didn't go to bed until, because it was like a few hours of sleep, got ready for the wedding, until I was probably on my feet for like 5 hours straight. My feet were sore, and then I still had to be packing, so of course I couldn't get as much sleep. So I then slept only 3 hours and then woke up, got some more packing, then had to get ready for commencement ceremony. Went through that, which was 3 hours long in the sun, was completely baking. I had awful sunburn. Maybe you'll see it in a coming vlog I have where it's like my final week of college and moving home vlog or something like that I need to edit and do. But man, was that a mess because I still had to finish packing after the commencement ceremony, so I was still on my feet. It was to the point where I felt like my legs were gonna give out. And when I finally went with my mom to a yurt on a goat farm, because we weren't gonna go all the way home immediately. We were gonna sleep the night at that yurt, which is where my mom had been staying. Anyways, we got there. I was awake for like a couple hours to like help move some stuff, eat, look around the goat farm, look at some of the animals. They had some really cool animals. And then I laid down and I was out for over 12 hours. And I woke up and my mom was like, you were wiped out, huh? Ugh. Wow, that was just a fun tangent off of saying that my goal of taking better care of myself has been iffy. But as you may have picked up from the rest of the video, I am going to be working on doing better about that. Better TBR habits has been decent enough aside from the summer book bingo thing. That was too much. That was basically me doing a massive TBR for 3 months, and it was still too much because not necessarily to say that I couldn't read like the over 20 books in that time. It's more like there was a lot of thick books, and like I was not in a state of full recovery for my brain at that point. And then I had to deal with like a full day of family and jury duty. And so my brain went from like starting to recover to it's like if you were putting your leg in a cast after it got broken and then suddenly being forced to sprint. You're gonna have like a really bad slip back. And that's what happened in July. I was just starting to get better. I did the summer book bingo thing. I then recorded a long video, then had all of the crazy, like, long days, interactions, and something in that mess of stress with jury duty and dealing with family multiple times for way too long, even though I didn't actually talk much, just being around them and having people constantly being like, so what are you doing with your life now? Getting a job, getting your license. And it's like, I know I need to do that, but right now my brain can't even function well enough to get me out of bed sometimes, okay? So, now I'm at a point where I've unleashed talking about random things. Better video making practices. That goal went completely poorly because I did not end up recording and then editing and having it up. I did all that stuff. And you know what? I totally changed my mind about posting things way after the time, because guess what? At some point, you're going to be getting vlogs from January, February, and who knows when, October. I don't know when they're going to get up, but they're vlogs and they capture the time nonetheless. It'll just be like if you found a vlog posted at the time later, like you discovered the channel later. It's like the same experience. I don't think it'll impact anything. The Buzzwordathon and Read Your Bookshelf Challenge both I've been keeping up with them perfectly until the summer. But I have a few of them on the go, right? I have When the Wind Blows and Heartlight for the Buzzwordathon in progress. Like, I started them today. Those are the Read or Rid project books that I started today. I do need to get to The Picture of Dorian Gray and Other Stories for my June. Oh, that's funny. For both the Buzzwordathon and Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, my June books are the ones that I either haven't started or haven't finished. Because for the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, I have the July and August ones finished, but not the June. Because it's half the Letters of the May book, which was hidden, and then A Different Country or World from that. And I decided to go with Warbreaker because it's a completely different fantasy world, and I finished that. And then the same genre of the July book, and I read Legends and Lattes, another fantasy one. That's fun. I don't think we have enough time right now for me to do a mid-year check-in. We'll see. Let me check the time, and if there is still time, I'll do it. Otherwise, this may be farewell, and I'll be popping back to do some sort of outro. So I think if I can do the mid-year freakout fairly quickly, I'm not going to talk as much because some of this is just a simple, like, list the book. Right? Okay, so we're going to do the mid-year freakout questions. Okay, so question 1, best book you've read so far? Oh no. Alright, apologies. I think I yanked the thing. But I have some of the books here. Best book I've read so far, it's a tie between two, and it's Bear Town by Frederick Bachman and Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. Persuasion also might be up there, but I wasn't feeling it as much. Next is best sequel so far, and I've only read 4 sequels so far this year, and they were only for 2 series. So it was the second and third books of The Wheel of Time, and the second and third book of the 100 Covers trilogy. And this is the best sequel, I would say, because it's the only one in the trilogy that I gave a full 5 stars to. My nose is itchy. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. New release you haven't read yet, but want to. That's question 3. And for that is The Handyman Method, which is the book I got as an ARC, or an advanced reader's edition, that went on sale on the 8th. But I haven't read it yet, because I didn't get to want to read it, haven't yet. And that's a new release, most anticipated release for the second half of the year, or I guess the rest of the year. No idea. I'm keeping no track of any books being released. If Mona Kabani releases one, that'll be it. Because otherwise, all the other authors that I care about, I have other books of theirs that I need to read first before I would even be concerned about whatever they publish now. Hello. editing, me just popping in here because I actually found out that there is a book coming just to counter this thing that was just said, that not really anything, because turns out I found out today as I was like editing, took a break, and looked on Goodreads, and they had like things, big books being released this fall, and what was on there but Bookshops and Bone Dust, Travis Baldry's next book. And you know what? That's coming November 7th, and that is one I am looking forward to. So, gotta add that in worser quality fashion. I am going to get back to editing, and I'm going to have to incorporate this clip. And moving on to whatever the next question. Biggest disappointment, Cat Raised the Dead by Shirley Rousseau Murphy. I don't have that book. I was expecting a cute, if macabre, talking cat mystery, or like murder mystery solved, and it had the talking cat. Yeah. That's the lowest rated book of the year so far. And the biggest surprise is Deception Point and Grey Wolf. I'll get pictures instead of the covers, because otherwise grabbing them and holding them up will take too long. Now, both Deception Point and Grey Wolf were 4 stars, and I ended up liking them, and I wasn't expecting to, so I get, of course, they're surprises. Favorite new author? I don't know if I can 100% say favorite author if I've only read, one of their works in the case of Travis Baldry, or only one other in the case of Frederick Bachman, but I would say one of the two so far, because it's for this year, and I mean, I read A Man Called Uva last year, and I loved it, but now, would it be, because it's like a new favorite author, it's not a new author to me. Does that make sense? So, but we'll see if Frederick Bachman keeps it up. The next question 8, is newest fictional crush. That's just too awkward of a question. Too personal for me right now. Question 9, newest favorite character. I have a few that I wrote down so I could keep them all in mind. So there's Kira, Maya, and Bobo from Beartown, Henry and Rags the Ragant from the 100 Cupboards trilogy, Viv, Cal, Thimble, Tandri, am I mixing up her name? Tandri? And Amity from Legends and Lattes, Suzabron, Siri, maybe from Warbreaker, and Elliot from Persuasion, Orca from The Shadow of the Gods, Loyal and Rand from The Wheel of Time, as I've read so far, Septimus Harding and Eleanor Harding from the Barchester Towers and The Warden, Theodore the Wyvern, Sal and Linus from The House on the Cerulean Sea, and then I had a few from movies I recently watched, which is Littlefoot and Spike from The Land Before Time, and O and Pig from Home. Yeah. And then because I was like looking at it, I was like, well, we gotta have the least faves too. So I did list those. So some of my least favorite characters. Maybe going in some order, I would have to start with Archdeacon Grantley, who I don't remember if I actually got out there what I said about him in a rant. I think I did in a video, but in case I didn't, at one point I did say his head is so far up his rear that he's marinating in his own refuse and spewing it in a rant. But, and then I guess since they're all in the same book, following that, there's Obadiah Slope and Mrs. Prouty, Henry or Montague from The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, Joe Gray from Cat Raised the Dead, Harriet from Harriet the Spy, and then Matt Cawthon and Zareen Orphail from The Wheel of Time. Because they're both either boring or annoying in some manner. I guess Matt is either boring with his gambling and misogyny, or just a bit annoying in how moronic he is sometimes. But anyways, moving on. Book that made you cry, Beartown. And also Barchester Towers at one point. That did make me cry a little bit. And then the next question is a book that made you happy, Legends and Lattes, Persuasion, Strange Planet, and the 100 Cupboards trilogy. Those books did also make me happy. The most beautiful book acquired so far this year. This was one I had trouble with. Because I was looking through my shelves and I kept being like, I have variable things. So we're just going to go through them, show you them, because there's a variety here and you can judge my judgments on what are beautiful books in the comments, I guess. So there's first the cover of For You by Mona Kabani. Not just the cover, the books in general being beautiful, I guess. Then we have Margaret the First by Danielle Dutton. Hollows of the Knox by Matthew E. Norden. I don't know, something about this cover and the little bit of the back speaks to me. Then we have How High We Go in the Dark with the moons and shining, and the blue is nice. And then we have the very simple white with some light flowering plants, The Collected Poems of Amy Clampett. Okay, and then, we're at the final question being what books you need to read by the end of the year. I don't have any in strong specifics aside from, the read or rid ones, which you can see a list up there. Watch the other video. Actually, I have a list here of the ones. I'll list the ones I need to read. So there's Trust and Betrayal by Janet Bode, The Boston Strangler by Gerald Frank, Birth of the Firebringer by Meredith Ann Pierce, The Office of Historical Corrections by Danielle Evans, and I Hold a Wolf by the Ears by Laura Vandenberg. Those are all the ones that I need to get to that I haven't picked up at all. Then there's some of the summer book bingo ones, because they might also be Read Your Bookshelf or Buzzwordathon challenge reads. And then there's just any other ones after the summer for Read Your Bookshelf and Buzzwordathon. I might do Victober or Nonfiction November or something like that, but that's up in the air. And honestly, even with the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge and Buzzwordathon, I haven't determined what the books are yet. So I can't exactly say what those are. Just, if you know the prompts, expect books befitting those prompts. And those are the ones I need to read. I also want to read A Suitable Boy in Infinite Jest before the year goes out. We'll see if I actually achieve that. Yeah. And that is all. Woo. That is everything. This video went a bit longer than I expected. I am so warm. I hope y'all enjoyed this a bit hectic and somewhat sloppy attempt at 2 tags, as well as some minor checking in, talking about stuff. And I will, feel like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know your thoughts about anything here. I'd love to hear from y'all. It feels weird to say, because now I feel like I may have been accidentally guilt tripping with talking about the challenge of not getting interaction. But don't let that force you into interacting, because then I'll feel like it's insincere. Unfortunately, that's the state my brain is in right now. Anyways, I will see y'all in the next video, which may have passed me. Who knows? We'll see. Much good reading be upon you. Ciao. Hey, did you see? I changed my profile picture. It's a doodle from my friend. She ended up drawing it, and I asked it, well, first off, it was during a call that we did, like it was a virtual call, whatever, and she was doodling it, and she shared these doodles of me and another friend that she did, and I was like, oh my god, that's adorable, I love it. And I decided to make it the one she did of me, my Goodreads user thing. And then she was like, okay, well, first off, if you're going to use my silly drawing, you're gonna at least let me do a fully colorized version. And so she ended up sending me just this whole, like, outlined colorized version. And I was like, that's amazing. I would love to use that for my YouTube, but if you don't want me to, I won't. But then she's like, oh, that's cool. Go for it. And so, yeah, now I have this cute thing. It's interesting. That's just a fun thing to say at the end here. Bye-bye now.